What is he doing? Oh no. This is the way. That job big as shit. I'm surprised your grandma didn't cook a soup in there. I'm still waiting for like noodles in there or something, or like chicken broth or something. Oh, there you go. Representing the local. I was gonna say local retards by accident. Representing the local. That's cute.
That's how I feel after this episode.
When you take off your helmet, they just make a reaction like the Step Brothers dad, who's like, ah!
That's when you post the Chilean like meme of me.
Chilean. You mean spicy chili sauce? Beating a dead horse with that joke, huh? Hi, we both have what do you call it?
It's our father-son work day.
I guess so.
I don't know about your son. Your son looks more distressed. He looks like you bribed him to be here. Like you promised to give him his Xbox back or something.
Oh, look, he has little cute feet. You see? I'll probably in post. I'll just put a Laogan Mall PNG right here for you guys. So
I'm not how smooth it looks.
that's quality sideshow collectibles for you.
That Joan more that Joan like more scorched than a Mandalorian.
That John was crazy. I can't wait.
I've
I
heard
can't
of
wait.
mowing the lawn, but you done scorched the earth.
What an entrance, shows crotch.
Oh god, what an episode! What an episode!
Yeah, for sure. This is definitely season. I'd say we were talking about earlier, season 3, episode 1 of Mandalorian, right? Or at least Book of Boba Fett, like an interlude or something, like season 1.2, something like that. It's like crazy.
It's a great introduction because we haven't
Yeah.
really they haven't really given us anything like Mandalorian like related in a while. Actually, I think because I think I saw something on Disney Plus. It was like a little sneak preview of Obi-Wan Kenobi, but I think it was just like the interview that Ewan McGregor was in, like that they showed on Disney Plus Day. But yeah, I can't wait for that show. It's
That's
such a
interesting.
good time for Star Wars right now.
Yeah, great time. But although I feel like it kind of feels like a dry spell because the Book of Boba Fett, obviously Mandalorian season 3. I think this is the entryway. We talked about that last episode. But like, what else? We had some Disney Plus like exclusives announced, but no movies, right? That's weird. I wonder where they're gonna go. Maybe they won't make like produce a film in a long time. Maybe it's all Disney Plus now. I don't know. Maybe that's the route they're going as opposed to MCU properties. That's an interesting conversation to have later,
Yeah,
I guess.
I think it's kind of done now with the whole movie format because I think after the sequels, it's just kind of like I think they want to take a break from that. I think honestly, it's better with these Disney Plus shows. I think you get
Agreed.
a lot more out of it, and you can go into lore and explore more of the mythology of Star Wars. I think like with a movie, it's kind of just like you have to pump out another apparently they are making another trilogy, from what I heard. Also, did you hear about
Mm.
the thing about I think they're making like new Star Wars games now.
Yeah, EA, and we just did a news discussion. That's such a well. If you guys are listening, that's news for you. Yeah, they're EA. I mean, Star Wars. They're coming out with like 3 titles. I believe. I put like 5
And
fingers,
one of
but
them
like
I think
3.
is a Fallen Order sequel too, right?
Fallen Order sequels. It's like positive. Like yeah, that's gonna happen. But like, I wonder what are the other 2 going to be about? RPG. I know they're
Well, we
doing
have
older.
Eclipse. They showed
Yeah.
that at what was it Game Awards. So that looks really interesting.
But that's not a part of the 3, I think. I think so. That plus the Old Republic plus 3 more. Obviously, one of them is probably the Jedi Fallen Order sequel, or unless that's not included, maybe it's just like that, the sequel, and 3. I don't know. The sky's the limit.
Battlefront 3.
Yeah, that's cool though. I'm so hyped because I feel like we need a lot more like great Star Wars games. I heard Battlefront 3 is like a no at the moment for like a long time. There's no plans for it. So I wonder what else we'll get. Something with the High Republic, more stuff.
I don't know why they don't try for like a Mandalorian game because honestly, that'd be the best
Yeah.
style. Because like, think about it, you have like a Mandalorian game, right? Like you could do. It doesn't even have to be Mandalorian. It could just be like a bounty hunter game. You could just go around and like just do like it could kind of be like Cyberpunk, where like you like do missions for like these crime lords or whoever. you could throw like a little like Jedi Sith mythology in there, or it could be like a sandbox game, and you could just like explore the galaxy or ship something like you could customize your own ship.
That'll be
I don't
great.
know. I would love like something like that.
Well, Beyond Good and Evil, I think it's called, from Ubisoft, that it's we don't know what's going on. Like the news is on a
The second
hiatus,
one.
but that you could like exit the planet. Even No Man's Sky, the same thing. I mean, but it does take a lot. And I'm just wondering, like, maybe that's gonna be safe for like, I don't know, next gen, which is funny to say because we're on next gen right now, but like, later on. Yeah, that'll be cool. Uh, fuck, man, we just need more games.
What was your favorite Star Wars game growing up?
Growing up, which is funny, I didn't play like a whole lot. The only game I played, which is really weird, I got into Star Wars like when I was in the fourth grade. So, um, Battlefront 2 on PSP. That's what I played a lot, but I didn't know what I was doing. I was just randomly like trying to fly all the time. But other than that, I think really, isn't that fucked up? There's not like too many like now. Like when you think about it, like
Not too
Lego.
many. There's a shit ton. What are you talking about?
Yeah, a shit
There's
ton of Lego games and like older
what?
like
Nah,
PS1
there's
games probably.
Dark Forces 2, there's Coder,
Yeah, that was
the
like old.
first there's Jedi Academy, there's what was it? Public Commando, Jedi Starfighter.
That was on PS1 though. Like a lot of stuff I never got. I started with PlayStation 2. I never played like PlayStation 1 stuff.
Oh yeah, I
Um,
mean if you're talking about like modern times, yeah, there's not too much other than like you said the Lego games, but Force Unleashed also.
yeah. Oh, I
Um
forgot about that. I forgot to mention. I don't know why I forgot about that. Yeah,
Shaking
Force
my head. I'm
Unleashed.
about to revoke your Star Wars card.
Taking my son away.
This is
Force
not the
Unleashed 1 and
way.
2. What did you? I'm sure everything you just listed you probably played anyways, right?
Battlefront 2 definitely was my favorite, growing up because I used to play with my friend Matt a lot, because he had a PlayStation 2 and I had an Xbox, and we would just whenever we were at each other's houses, we would just play that, just because there was so much, like, freedom to, like, choose your own faction. Because at the time, that's when, Revenge of the Sith came out, so I think they, promoted that heavily, during the release, and actually, I wish I could show it, but I have, because when I bought the game, a lot of people forgot about this, but, when you got it at Best Buy, they gave you, like, this promotional, like, art case. I'll probably, throw it up on the screen when we edit. But yeah, it was, like, this custom case, you, like, open it, it had, like, prints inside it, so you had, like, the Battlefront 2 cover art, but you also had the Revenge of the Sith promotional art in it, which was really cool. So it was
That
like a great
is.
time for like Star Wars fan. And yeah, it was a great game, one of the best Star Wars games, definitely.
Oh yeah, for sure. That's awesome. Yeah, I hopefully they could like make a big impact now. With a new generation of Star Wars fans.
I mean, yeah, Star Wars is growing definitely. Um, yeah, it's being a lot more inclusive now. But yeah, I can't wait to talk about this episode because there's a lot we got to cover. But
Yep.
this is the way.
This is the way.
Welcome, Star Wars fans, to the Lunch Table Podcast, where we geek out and discuss all your favorite movies, shows, video games, and pop culture. Carrying on with our Book of Boba Fett Season 1 review, we've now reached Episode 5, and I must say this episode blew me away. It is so good, and, well, obviously we already spoiled it in the cold open, but spoilers ahead, so just be warned. It is Chapter 5, Return of the Mandalorian. It was an amazing episode. We got to see, of course, Pedro Pascal back, as we predict, just as Count Dylan predicted. He's back, and he's at the full center of this episode. Akram, I have a lot of notes for this episode, but I want to know your take on this episode because it's a lot to break down. So I want to hear your reaction.
Well, yeah, I did not expect it to revolve so much around Mando. I thought it was going to be like a thing where Boba would get involved, like at least in the middle. This was all centered on Mando, as we talked about earlier. This is basically an introduction to Mando season 3, as we mentioned in the last review. This is like an introduction to, or maybe it's gonna like introduce, Mando season 3 later on. You have some points also, which I'd like to hear about how Mando is like taking full stage here as opposed to Boba Fett and the Mandalorian season. I can't wait to hear your thoughts about that. But yeah, great episode so far. So fun, so funny. And I like how this series so far is like making moves and like a lot of things don't feel too Star Warsy, right? with the bikes, and now we have like the little transit scene, which I thought was
It
just
was so
so
weird seeing that,
so
like, that
weird.
meat warehouse, like, I would never imagine that in Star
That
Wars.
was such like I wasn't expecting Mando to come out. You know who I was expecting? I was expecting Daredevil to show up, and then like and like what's her name? She's like,
That's so funny
oh,
because that little parrot lady that he was talking to, I thought that was Madame Gao for some reason.
Madame Gala said, Din Djarin.
Din Djarin. You poor
Boo. But yeah,
like, Mando flips
tell
out.
us what you thought about the episode.
Yeah, it was a great episode, man. It definitely feels a little out of place for Boba Fett just because it was so centered on Din Djarin, and really we didn't see like anything like of Boba. We saw Fennec obviously at the end. That's really the only thing that tied it back to the series. So it does feel definitely like you said, it feels like episode 1 of Mando season 3. But I think because the last season of Mandalorian we had, Boba Fett kinda, like, stole the show in a way. So I think this is a good even out, right? So now this is Boba's show, but now bringing Din in, he's kinda got, like, his 1 episode of spotlight, so but I'm great it's glad to see him back, so it definitely gives us context about, like, what he was up to, after, the finale of season 1. So he no longer has Grogu with him because obviously he gave him to Luke Skywalker at the end of season 2, but he's still doing his like bounty thing. And this was a long episode too. It was like what 15 minutes. So this was a very like because most of the Boba episodes I think run for like 30 or 40 minutes. But yeah. So going into the episode, we start off. He's doing a job. And that Halo ring thing that he was in, that whole city planet thing, that was wild. I was like all I heard in the background was, "Oh."
Oh, Chief Cortana.
It was so
You
cool
see,
because it
yeah,
yeah. It was awesome to look at. It was like, it's very, like, retro futurism, and
yeah,
I love that, like, little, like, club that he was into with that music. Like, I love that this series, like, I think we kinda saw with, like the what was it, the chop shop where they were getting, like,
right.
droid parts in it. So, like, there's, like, elements that are, like, very outside of Star Wars, and I like that a lot because it's kind of, like, breaking down or breaking away from, like, what the idea of Star Wars is, and it's just kinda like this more freeform storytelling. But yeah, going back to the story, so he's doing this job, and, he's getting this bounty, and, I love that, like, when the guy was like, "Uh, you're a reasonable guy. Let's discuss our options." And then he was like, "Nah, I'm gonna give you 2 options. I'm gonna either bring you in cold or I'm gonna bring you in warm."
There you go, famous saying. Yeah, that's
I
such a
want that
nice
on a
callback.
t-shirt. Yeah. And then so yeah, he's in this fight with these Klatooinian guys, and then he pulls out the dark saber because obviously he won it from Moff Gideon. What did you think seeing the dark saber back?
That was great. Obviously, I got it from him
This
later
is our
on.
sideshow collectible
No.
advertisement.
That was awesome, but I have a lot of questions 'cause, it ended with, her, like, actually having it, right? Like, he gave it to her. Wasn't
No,
that,
he
like
didn't give it to her. He was going to at first because Moff Gideon was trying to, like, get him to, like, fight Bo-Katan, and then they got interrupted because of the Dark Troopers. He was going to give it to her, but then he stopped, and then they just left it on a cliffhanger at the end.
but damn, so I'm, like, wondering, like, how did that got resolved? Because obviously they probably have, like, cell phones, Star Warsy cell phones, like, what's going on, you know?
Right,
It's
he's
like a
still
kind
getting
of
the
like a awkward
messages.
thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like I mean, no, that was great. The action was, like, really, like, impactful. It was really, like, heavy duty, and also I didn't expect for the Darksaber to be so heavy. And
Yeah, that's weird.
that's weird. It's, like, magical
We've never
almost
seen that
or
in previous, like, iterations.
yeah, that's
Um,
weird, right? That's, like, a little yeah,
yeah, but we'll go more into that.
right.
But yeah, so he's, and it was so violent too, like, the beginning scene, it
I
was so
know.
violent for because
Yep.
we've kinda had, like, little fights in Boba Fett and Mandalorian, but, Din was, like he was hacking and slashing, he was, like, beheading people.
This was
I'm
Netflix
like, "Damn,
style.
I thought I was on HBO Max for a minute." I was
It's
I
all
was
'cause of
like, "This
Moon
is"
Knight, and Moon Knight's,
right?
like, introducing that, remember?
Mandalorian night.
Yeah.
But yeah, he was, like, cutting people in half, he was, like, stabbing and they were, like, showing it. It's not like, like, they just cut away. and then you don't see it. No, they were like really exposing it. And it was so funny because those poor Clatoonian butchers are probably like, who's gonna sign my check next week?
Oh, they got plenty of credits to grab.
Who's gonna
That's
get my
it.
W-2s? Yeah.
Well, the IRS probably will take over soon. They'll get
Probably.
those credits back.
The New Republic IRS. And then we get, of course, the Boba Fett theme, and they added a little hint of Mando in it, which was a really cool reference. And then of course, Mando is getting information from this employer. So now there's a new hideout for the Mandalorian covert. Because obviously on Navarro, the Imperials killed off all the Mandalorians. So we get a new covert, and we saw the return of the armorer, which was awesome. I knew we were gonna see her eventually. I didn't expect to see her in this episode. I thought we were gonna see her maybe in Mandalorian season 3, but no, we got her and Paz Vizsla, which was cool too. And they actually confirmed his name, which was cool because I
I
think he was
know. I
called
searched
the
that. Yeah.
heavy trooper or heavy Mandalorian
Heavy
before.
infantry, or
Heavy
yeah,
infantry.
like that.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that was awesome. They broke down a lot of lore in this one scene. They were just like going like heavy into like the mythology. Oh, there's just so much to go over. But
Yeah.
yeah, tell me your thoughts on seeing the armor back.
Yeah, that whole thing, like I think it really kicked off like what's gonna happen in season 3 as well, because he just like kind of dipped and just said, "Let me go get my ship." He probably went to get a ship just because he wanted to do what like the armorer said, like where he had to visit. But also like he took another job, because that's just who he is. Yeah, I'm interested to see also like how much of a role she'll play in season 3 of The Mandalorian. Will she actually be that type of role where like she's kind of like a villain? It's kind of like he's trying to break out of that helmet, out of that shell, right? Slowly he's doing that. He doesn't mean to, but his humanity is bringing him through. And anyway, he was a rescued Mandalorian from the start.
He is a
So
foundling. Yep.
I'm interested to see that. I'm interested to see. I'm like stuttering right now because, but I'm interested to see that characterization of him later on, and I want to see what's going on with Grogu. I think that's what's on everyone's mind is how he's going to be involved. Because I thought that was like the end of the chapter. Like that's it, no more Grogu. But going back to the Book of Boba Fett, I think that's awesome that they're going to do another team up. I wonder what's his thoughts on the Boba Fett taking over. We'll probably have Dinjarin here next week to discuss with us. But no, that was really cool. Yeah, and in the ship. I want to talk about the ship later. But if you have any other thoughts, let's hear them.
Well, I love that the armor actually like discussed a lot of because like I mean, her whole dialogue, I could listen to her talk about, I don't know, the fucking history of soup, and I would still be intrigued. She'd be like, Progresso only lasted 10 years, Campbell's has lasted 10,000 years.
It's very scary.
It's
I
very
don't-
scary. Actually, no, because going into that one scene, because she was talking about the Night of a Thousand Tears, and that was mentioned in Mando season 1 by Moff Gideon. So we
Right.
didn't really get too much context of that.
Yep.
But here we get a flashback scene, and we actually get to see Mandalore live action for the first time. I mean,
Yeah.
we've seen it in Clone Wars, but that was animation. So we saw
Yep.
Mandalore was bombed uh from the Empire,
Mhm.
and they pretty much like wiped the planet clean. So we kind of saw like those little dome things that the Mandalorians lived in. So I think that was
Yeah.
a really cool throwback,
Imagery was
and then
great
like
there. Like that's such like a screenshot wallpaper worthy. Unless if you
I
like
know
Death and Destruction too
there were
for
so
like
many good like
yeah.
because I screenshotted everything like on my PS4 watching this, but
Yeah,
there
yeah,
were
yeah.
so many good like photographic moments in this show. It was just hard to like pick and choose, but yeah, and then we get and then he talks about like the things he did. Obviously, he won the dark saber. She's going over like the mythology. She even talked a little bit about Bo-Katan, which is really interesting. Like how like she's basically like the black sheep of the Mandalorians because
Mhm.
she lost her way,
Yep.
and that pretty much like led to the downfall of the Mandalorians. I think she even trying to think of that
They're
one
gonna
quote
fight
she
later.
said.
I got a feeling like they're gonna kind of like catch up and like fight a little bit, you know?
Yeah, I have a
Um,
feeling. Cause she said like whoever like the saber I forget the direct quote. She was like, "One person can cause like 20 to fall, and whoever something." It was like a really like it just resonated with me so much. But she was going into like the
mm,
mythology, and she even mentioned Tar Vizsla, which was interesting who was
Yeah.
the first Mandalorian Jedi. So they really went deep into like lore for this episode, which I love about John Favreau and Filoni. They really like respect the context a lot.
And that's Mando
Um,
for you. I mean, even the Mandalorian season 1 and 2, like they really I felt like this was the connector for a lot of like the live action stuff they were gonna do, and perhaps it'll connect to other TV series. Like the Book of Boba Fett obviously he's his own man. And even in the comics and the previous lore, he didn't really like resonate with the culture of
right.
Mandalore, right? And so I like that. I like that distinctiveness.
And
Um,
that's what I think I mentioned this in another episode because these two, like you asked why the show is called the Book of Boba Fett, and it's kind of like book. It's referencing. It's a biblical reference because it's like the Book of John or the Book of Matthew. It's like to showcase like point of view. So this show is kind of like Boba's point of view, but I think you brought up a great point earlier how this is kind of like an intermission. Um,
yeah.
it's we're taking a break from Boba, to go into like Mando's side before we go into this big finale.
Yep.
Um, yeah. So and then the armor, she has like a new workshop, which I thought was really cool. And then Mando gives her the spear, and it was really interesting, like how she described it, because she was like Mandalorian steel isn't meant for weapons; it's made for armor. And then she crafts something. So Din makes a request to her. He's like, can you make something for a foundling and a specific foundling?" And she's like, "Oh, for Grogu." And then he's like, "Yeah." So they didn't really show what it was, um, but it was like they showed like little chain links. So I'm thinking maybe she made like a little chain link armor vest for him. What do you think?
Yeah, I think with the Mandalorians, it's a lot about like symbology as well, and so or almost like a second skin. A lot of intertextuality to religions of today as well. So if that has to involve something for baby Grogu, perhaps it is. I don't think it's like some other necklace, or unless it'll be like a Cuban link chain with diamonds. I don't know, but it can be like it has to be something that's symbolic but protective. Um, and yeah, that spear part was like so badass. 'Cause I was like, yeah, he understands. He's still like in the culture, and it's a shame because like he really feels like he's starting to become the black sheep, especially when so many died. I was hoping that it was like an armor. I was like in my mind, my fantasy, I was hoping like when she does the Iron Man hammering thing,
Yeah,
pan the camera, shows like a baby, like the ears with the
little
Mando
helmet.
like thing,
Yeah.
the visor. Oh god, I was hoping. What did you think about that? That part, like that symbology too, of like when he was on the space bus, right, or whatever you call it, holding the little
Oh, the little
Denny's
napkin
napkin. Yeah,
thing, that was so cute. As soon as I saw the
yeah.
little folds, I was like, I immediately recognized it. I was like, yeah, it's
Mm-hmm.
probably like the ears of Grogu. It was so cute. I love what this show does with like semiotics, but
Oh god,
yeah,
yes.
it kind of reminded me of too like the little ball that he had. I kind of wish he
Yeah.
kept that.
It's another ball, that's what it
Yeah,
was on the side. It
that's
was
what
just to put on his new ship.
he asked her to craft, just another ball.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, I also love that like he was like he's so fond of Grogu, after their experience together. He's kind of like distracted in a way because you saw that with the training sequence, which I love. I love that when he's like sparring with the armor. But yeah, and I love that the armor knows so much about, Jedi philosophy because she was like, yeah, Grogu, with the Jedi, they don't have attachments, so you have to kind of like disconnect. And then like I guess Din is so ingrained in, Mandalorian culture, he's like, well, that's the opposite of our way. That's like, solidarity and, loyalty. So I thought that was just interesting, like 2 points of view, like how the Jedi live and how the Mandalorians live. Like they're similar, but they're also like have their own like philosophies. Um, but yeah, what did you think of like that duel with like Paz Vizsla?
Well, again, that was, like, so revealing of the weight of, holding that because it's also,
More
uh
weight.
no, but it's it has a lot to do with semiotics as well, right? Film narratology. Um, the weight of the sword, right, is also the weight that he has on his shoulders, to carry his people forward. And so I felt like this was a perfect example of that. And he's struggling. And why is he struggling? Probably because maybe he's not meant to hold the Mandalorian sword, the dark saber. Maybe he's not full Mandalorian. Maybe it's because after he found this love with Grogu, maybe it's just that. Maybe there's something that he can't like live both worlds, right? And so I'm thinking in my mind, I'm thinking probably the most adult thing to do is to have him drop off the sword to somebody who's worth it. I don't think it's Boba Fett. I think that'll be like too
Yeah.
cliche, but it might be someone else that we know. Perhaps Sabine. I don't know because we got casting confirmation and we have the Ahsoka series or maybe mini series coming up. Great fight though, great choreography. Even Paz Vizsla, he couldn't really wield the sword as well. And it takes technique as well.
I think kinda because he has, like, that Vizsla greed in a way, because he
Hmm.
is I love that he mentioned, like, he is a direct descendant from the Prey Vizsla house family.
And John Favreau
So
too. He's
is that
voicing
Jon Favreau that plays him?
probably voicing the character. Yeah,
Sounds similar, yeah.
yeah.
He takes it off, it's just like Jon Favreau.
Na 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 na. They just
Then
played a
takes it
song.
off, it's Dave Filoni underneath.
Yeah, with the cowboy hat. Or he puts the
And
cowboy
then
hat
the
on.
armor is like Kathleen Kennedy.
It was like played a Dune song, like
Right.
"Ah, la, la."
Yeah, I love that fight, because you can kinda you saw, like, even at it's so funny because even though they wear helmets, you can kinda see their expressions in their face. So when Paz first saw the dark saber, like, they had a shot where, like, he was kinda, like, in awe, he was like, "Oh, fuck, I know what this is," 'cause, my relative owned this at one point. So you could see, like, the kind of, like, greed in his face, and I love that, their fight just revealed so much because even Paz couldn't handle the weight of the blade, which is interesting. So it's like Harry Potter, like the wand chooses the wizard in a way. So it's kinda like the dark saber can, like, feel but we've never seen that in other, like, iteration like the Clone Wars before, because like, I guess you could say Darth Maul, was more powerful, but I don't know, what do you think is behind that?
It's one of those things where at first they kind of write it in to symbolize something or to foreshadow something perhaps, and also it kind of seems cool, like, oh, this dark saber is so mysterious. It's probably the most mysterious lightsaber we've seen in Star Wars canon. Um, yeah, there, but like to have like evidence of like why it's really like that, like to actually show you. I guess we're gonna have to see. The Mandalorian is all about exploring as well and venturing out to the unknown, and I think we'll see that there might be some like magical ties to it. And strongly, I think to do with the Force as well, and which is funny because Grogu is Force sensitive, so I think it's all connected.
Yeah, it's because the Mandalorians aren't, like, Force sensitive, well, maybe some are, because like, Tar Vizsla, but I think kind of in the way the Force has its own agenda, so maybe, even though Din isn't Force sensitive, the crystal in the lightsaber is Force sensitive, so it kind of has, like, a mind of its own. But I think the end of that duel is really interesting because like, they even removed their jetpacks too, which is kinda like our sign of respect too, but, so obviously, Din wins the fight, um, and then we get this great scene where it's like the armor reminds him of his creed, and she's like, "Have you ever taken your helmet off?" And then he's like, he pauses, he hesitates because remember in season 2, there were a couple times where he had to show his face, that one scene with that Imperial dude, and he kinda just had, like it was a spur of the moment, so he had to take his helmet off. So that was a great scene. I don't know why he couldn't just lie though. I would've just been like,
Yeah,
"Fuck
right.
nah."
Like, no, I never have. But you know what's the thing?
Cross my fingers behind my back.
The armorer is so wise and she just feels like not a human. And so she kind of feels like a Yoda character, but like almost like a Mace Windu character in a way. And like she would know. And also it's very dishonorable. Again, Mando can't live both lives. And but the greatness about him is that he is a very honorable person. And so I think that was really realistic to show. But yeah, I would have crossed my finger or like I would have smiled underneath my helmet like
Smile
no.
between my teeth.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fuck, if Anakin could lie to the Jedi Council, he could've.
Yeah, right? Yeah, there you go.
He had a helmet the whole time, it's not like he could, like, make faces like you could see.
She had, like, a webcam installed there or something like that, she was like
But yeah, I think that was a great scene, so, obviously, he had to let her know, "Yeah, I've taken my helmet off," so she's like, "Yeah, well, you broke the rules, buddy, so get out." So, it kinda
Yeah.
sucked because after all that, it's like, really, like, what is taking your helmet off?
It's a
that really.
religion. It's that's
Yeah, I
how,
guess it's
you know,
the extreme reality of it. But
Bo-Katan said that too. I think she said something like that. Yeah. So
yeah, but I mean, Bo-Katan also like broke her own rules in a way too. But
Bo-Katan's a bitch anyway. So who cares?
yeah.
No, just kidding. But yeah.
But so now Din is well, he's still a Mandalorian, but he's no longer with the covert. So they said the only way to redeem him is he has to go to the waters of Mandalore, like in the mines, and I guess like take a bath or some shit.
Take a bath. You have to go to the mines and take a bath. It's like,
It's like the Lazarus pit or some shit. Victory.
Victory. Well, maybe there's like some visionary things that he'll see there. Maybe it's like there's some type of like chemical or mineral that kind of like makes the character hallucinate. That'll be a cool visual thing we'll probably see in season 3. Like going back, seeing more of his childhood. Maybe some droids. Like, because we didn't really see him like I would love to see teenage Mando like having his own like suit of armor. Like, how did he acquire? Perhaps we're gonna see something like that. Like, this is a good opportunity to show those type of like it's like Luke's vision when he was in Dagobah and he saw like Darth Vader. Maybe
Yeah.
perhaps that's gonna happen.
Yeah, and I would love to see like more of Mandalore. Like, what's the state of it? Like, maybe that's where they're going with season 3. Like, because obviously he has to find these mines. So maybe that's where they're leading up to. But going back to Boba, so yeah, so he has to leave the covert. Um, and then we get a great scene with he's on this transport, going to Tatooine, and then we get the Star Wars TSA, and
That's
he's
so
like
funny.
stripping all his weapons off. I feel like I felt Mando on a personal level because like every time I go to the airport, I hate TSA with a
Oh
passion.
my,
I mean, I
that's
don't
so
have as many
funny.
weapons as Mando, but
That's so
I
great.
thought I just thought that was a great scene. So and then we get to see him on the transport. And he's kind of like pondering the state of things, and we see that cute little napkin that he had. And it's so funny because I feel like even in Star Wars there's always a weird kid staring at you on a plane.
He like he's like doing this and he starts laughing and then the Bob's like he gives the card. No, yeah, it's so funny. That's so true though.
That's why they asked him to take the weapons off, because if there was a crying kid on the plane he would have shot everybody.
What's so funny? You wouldn't get it.
But no, that was a great scene. So now he arrives on Tatooine, and we're kind of almost caught up with Boba Fett. But before we get to there, um, so he meets back with Peli, played by Amy Sedaris. She was the repair lady from the first 2 seasons, and we remember in season 2 he lost the Razor Crest because Moff Gideon shot it down. So now he's in need of a new whip. So Pelimato is like, "Oh well, I got something for you." So and then he
And an
just pulls like
exhibit was there, like, yo,
the
we're about to pimp your ride.
like Han and Dom Toretto were there.
Esta noche me voy, da, 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 do, ma. And they're drinking Corona.
That would have been like too perfect. Like they should have asked us to direct that scene.
I think people knows what bleeds. Oh boy.
Honestly, they should have called my homeboy Moncala from the second season.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
He could have just duct taped that shit together. Sometimes I feel like calling that dude for our podcast, but
Right.
but yeah, and then we get this great scene where you know she has this little project going on, and obviously the Razor Crest was an iconic ship, you know, and how do you top that, right? With another iconic ship.
Yeah.
And what do we get? The N1 Naboo starfighter from Phantom Menace. I could not believe that they pulled that. Like, what did you think of that? Because I was just like, it was
That
so
was
mind-boggling.
great because there's so it's funny because there's so many mentions in the comic books of that. And it's I was gonna say it's very scary. I am too stuck saying that. It's very like emotional seeing that in the comics, right? There's always ties to the Phantom Menace and also um the Queen of Naboo. So like here, I'm glad we got some mentions of that. And it's the whole thing about Naboo too, it's so artisanal. Everything is like handcrafted and so high class. And like even this lady's like mentioning like, yeah, everything's handcrafted. It's so interesting to
Custom
see.
made. Yeah.
Yeah, it's amazing. I like feel kind of like there's a sour taste in my mouth because I even pre-ordered the HasLabs Razor Crest, and it's like, damn man, and then they destroyed it after I pre-ordered that. So, but after some modifications, I must say that this is my favorite. I don't choose it over Razor Crest, but I can't wait for a vintage collection like 1/18 scale, whatever that is. That's hot, and a little bubble there for I wonder who is gonna sit in the Astromech slot as well. But yeah, what did you think about the whole like experience of like rebuilding it?
I loved seeing that scene, like, where he's, like, helping her repair it, 'cause it's a kind of a throwback to when Queel helped him build the Razor Crest in the 1st season. And you kinda just, like it's so, like it's kinda like you're a part of it in a way, like you're watching. Oh, and I forgot to mention too, we also saw, a familiar droid from
Yeah,
Fallen Order. BD well, I don't know if it was BD1, but the BD
yeah,
series droid from Fallen Order, so that was cool. Like, it's so funny that, they pull from, like, all these different lores. Like, I mean, we've seen I think the Dark Troopers were actually part of, Dark Forces too, but, they don't just draw from, like, the movies and the shows now, it's, like, from the video games too, so everything is canonized now, which I think is really interesting.
yep.
But going back to that scene, I loved, him, and even, like, his relationship with the Jawas too. I love that, she could speak Jawa too. I think that was really funny.
That was so
She even
weird. Yeah, I
dated a
know.
Jawa. You imagine, like, a Tinder page, like, with a Jawa on or some shit.
How does that even work? I'm
I don't
interested. I'm down. Like I'm a Google search
'cause they
away.
all look the same, so it's like, how do you differentiate?
Put it as like a Disney Plus documentary or like an extra.
Right. But and then we get the end result, and it's funny because it's kinda, like, calls back to Phantom Menace too when Anakin, first, built his pod racer in a way. So seeing that final craft too, it was so cool because like, the silver of it is kinda, like, reminiscent of his armor, so he stripped down all the yellow paint from it. And I was gonna mention too, because like, Star Wars ships are very, like, representative of their owners. So the semiotics of the starships, because like, the Millennium Falcon, represented Han, because it was, like, unreliable. Slave One, was like a one-man arsenal like Boba. And even Anakin's, starfighters, wore the colors of his pod racer. So the new Razor Crest, it's kind of just like like Din's new outlook on life and just like,
Yeah. Yep.
his new relationship with like the Mandalorian. So I think it's really cool. But yeah, it looks so slick. The only thing I have problem with is like how is he gonna put like bounties in it? In that little bubble thing.
Well, perhaps, like as you're saying, maybe he's gonna leave that life behind later on. Like that's kind of like foreshadowing as well. Or also, it's like a badass ship that you could take out. Like he was flying around that cruiser as well. Like you could
Mhm.
see like how uh capable that ship is. I think it's actually maybe more so capable than the Razor Quest because it's like fully like World War II type of like fighter, just super like balls out. Like even the engine was so like hot roddy.
Yeah,
That boost um, yeah, I and then the bubble, I'm like wondering, like he'll probably put the bounties inside that little.
in that little bubble thing.
That's awkward though. That's so awkward.
Imagine, like, going to the bathroom in that thing.
Yeah, I felt bad because that was his RV, and now he has to like, oh fuck, let me go to the 7-Eleven and just go back down and like I don't know Hoth or something.
Well, so funny because it's like at first he had like a I don't know, like a 4Runner, now he has like a Cadillac in a way. So it's kinda like
Yeah.
they shed away, like because the Razor Crest was, like, so heavy, so it's kinda like, this new ship is like he deburdened himself, so it's kinda like he's more open and he's more flexible to things now, so that's what I mean, like, the ships are, like, representative of his identity.
Yep.
But I love seeing this ship so much, like and then when he flew through Tatooine, I think that was a direct callback to the Phantom Menace
It
because he
was.
'cause he
Yes.
flew through Beggar's Canyon, and that was in
Yep.
Phantom Menace when they did the whole, Boonta's Eve thing.
Mm-hmm.
So that was so awesome to see, like, God, I love this show so much, but
No, 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 no. Yeah, it was. It was a day. Like some people were comparing it. You can see it on screen right now. There's like some comparisons right there for you. And yeah, that's awesome. That's Tatooine is like so rich with like history. Um, everything's like revolving around Tatooine. It's such like a shithole, but like it has so much memory. It's like that nice bar you went to when you were young, and then you gotta
Right.
leave it.
You just had good memory, even though it was bad. You still had good memories of
Yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah.
But like even that one scene, because like feel like John Favreau like threw this in there because there was that one scene where he was climbing up, and it kind of reminded me of Iron Man 1 when he's testing his armor, like how high he can go, and then you kind of like see it like go into space. So
That's
I love
true.
that scene like so much. And then he's flying past this like commercial cruiser, and then these two Republic officers show up, and who do we see? Honestly, I forgot his name, but
Me too.
the the one guy that was talking to Cara Dune, and he's like, "Did you lose anybody?" So that's cool. We get him back too. So everything like is such a reference. So
And the
I
guy
feel like,
next to him also played young Luke in the season 2
oh
finale as well.
really?
Yeah, he was like, just yeah.
Oh wow. Yeah. Everything is like an Easter egg, but that was cool.
Yep.
And like it must be really fast because he said that was like sublight engines. That wasn't even
Yeah.
like hyperspeed.
Yep.
So imagine how fast he's probably gonna go, but that would be cool to like see like that ship next season. Maybe it's more like improved by Mando season 3, like he upgraded it
Mhm.
or something. So or maybe I don't even know what he called it. Maybe it's like Razor Crest 2 or something. But yeah, I love that ship so
The
much.
Book
And
of
then
Boba Fett 2.5, he calls it.
right, even like the way he described it, he's like it's so wizard. I
Oh
think that
yeah,
was
that
really
was like a
cool.
callback to the Phantom Menace as well, wasn't that? Like one of the kids
Yeah,
said that or something? Yeah, yeah.
yeah. And then so then he's got his ship back, and then who do we see next? Fennec. So she's there and she's kind of like, Mando, we need muscle, or Boba needs muscle. And then he's like, all right, bet I'll do it for free. But there's one thing I gotta do first. I gotta visit a little friend, and then cut to concept art and
Yeah,
Ludwig Göransson. So yeah, it's great how it ended on that
yeah,
cliffhanger.
yeah.
So yeah, what are your thoughts? Like, what do you think we'll see next?
I don't know because I'm like thinking there's not too many episodes left for the Book of Boba Fett. So do they want to like do another Mando centralized episode and like take away from like Boba Fett's like whole show? Like a little friend, who is it? Obviously, probably just Grogu or. Um, yeah, I don't know. Like I'm excited for that though because I felt like this was the best episode of, and that could be an unfortunate thing too for the Book of Boba Fett, but this is like the best episode that I feel like. And so yeah, I think most likely we're gonna see like maybe somebody tag along for the Book of Boba Fett, and then have check out. Maybe we'll get like another Luke like reveal or something like
That's
that.
another thing too. Are we gonna see Luke
Yeah, that whole thing
possibly?
is confusing because the Kylo Ren, his tie-in graphic novel, um, has like all these people there, like these young Jedi, and I'm like thinking, okay, so where did Grogu go? So perhaps the journey will continue in season 3, and Grogu will actually leave the Jedi like post where Luke is. But I'm like wondering, like, is it possible to see like a young Kylo Ren? Is that like is that possible? You think that we might see like a young Kylo Ren? That'll be interesting. Or is he like too like he's not even like I don't know, right? Like
They
is that
Photoshop Adam Driver's face on like some poor kid.
no, but like is that a thing? Like could we see like a toddler Kylo Ren maybe perhaps? Like that's another cool Easter egg. I'm just thinking as like a prediction that we might see. Like or is it too early to like have that?
Think it might be too early. Well,
Yeah.
yeah, that's true because this takes place before the sequels.
Well, in the comics, I forgot how Luke looked, but I believe he looked a little bit older. I don't think he looked
Because we
like
don't really know when Han and Leia had Kylo. I mean, it's kind of
in the comics they show it. They actually show the exact moment. I seen the birth, like they show everything, but I forgot
you feel
like
like you were
exactly
actually
where.
there, like in the
Yeah, I was
hospital.
there.
Like I seen the birth of
Ooba, ooba. I mean, it's like that's the thing. Like this whole because nothing is like concrete. Like the movies were like really concrete with like, oh, this is the information. Here, it's like everything is like more like free, like to which is also a good thing because you could like really don't have to worry about these restrictions of like where can I place this. Um, that's my prediction though. If that's impossible, that's fine. But like I would love to see that. I think that's cool for sure. We're gonna see Grogu. Um, but I also want to see Mando interact a lot with Boba. So, but give us your thoughts.
Yeah, it's kind of weird how they posed it because we still have to wrap up, the whole Pike Syndicate thing. And you got to do that within 2 episodes. And you're kind of implying that, you know, Mando has to, because why throw Mando in here if he's not going to interact with Boba, right? That's kind of weird that they did that. Otherwise, it's just like episode 1 of season 3. So for next episode, I don't. We could see Grogu possibly. Um, I don't know because it really comes down to Boba. Everything like calls back to Boba. So how is this gonna relate? Back to maybe like Boba like offers to help find him or something. Um, and then like in exchange, like he'll be his muscle. Because also we have like Black Chrysanthemum too, and like the whole gang. So I don't know. It's very confused. It's very scary.
I mean, maybe it's just not gonna be with Mando. Maybe actually I have to like go off somewhere real fast. I'll be right back, and then so that the next episode is just all about Boba Fett, and then maybe it's ending. Yeah, that's probably what's gonna happen. So episode 6, centralized around Boba. No Mando. He's gonna come back. Episode 7, big battle ensues. Who shows up? Mando. Probably with like Grogu, like somewhere or something like that. And boom. And then why is he with Grogu? I thought he was training. Oh, we're gonna let you know season 3. Later on, they post an advertisement for season 3. So
There
that's
you go.
maybe it. I don't know.
There you go. I no, I think actually that's pretty accurate. Just as Count Akram predicted.
Ah, victory.
No, I think that's the only explanation I can think of because why else have Mando if he's not going to interact with Boba if he's not going to help him out? Um, and I don't know, maybe do you think we'll possibly ever get like a Boba season 2? And it all depends like how the last episode turns out.
Well, look, I think the last episode is gonna turn out with a victory, and I think that he's gonna like stay there as the daimyo, right? And I think it's gonna end well for him. That could be kind of like Hawkeye, because there's no season 2 of Hawkeye, but like it ends well for him, right? Like, okay, this is his fixed point right now. We don't have to do anything with him. It could end like that because I can't really see a season 2 with just like it's kind of boring, right? Like thinking about it, like, oh, now we have more trouble. This isn't like Deadwood on HBO or something like that. So it's like,
It's
uh,
very limited because you're
yeah,
only showcasing Tatooine, so you're kind of just like I mean, like Mando was the first time we've seen something off world in this show. And like I said, like unfortunately, like this was the best episode. But if you really needed Din Djarin to make it interesting, then that just shows, you really got to up your game in the next 2 episodes. But
yeah, yep.
yeah, we still have Ahsoka out there too. So I have a feeling we're not gonna see a season 2 of Boba, but I feel like still gonna make an appearance somewhere. And even if they don't showcase Boba, Tamora Morrison, he's still like all the clones, right? So we could still see Captain Rex or Commander Cody or whoever, right? But yeah, I don't think this show really did service to Boba. I mean, it explained a lot, like and we got the Sarlacc bit too. But I don't know. Do you think this series like lived up to what you expected?
I think it wasn't meant to. I think that it was a very ballsy season, or just series, because I feel like it wasn't going by people's expectations, but it was going by a resolution, a chapter in Boba's life, and him to change his character and for him to gain a new perspective. And I think that's what it was about. It's unfortunate because a lot of people are expecting, like, maybe, like, in my ideal world, I would think, oh, give us a prequel, kind of give us like young Boba Fett going out and like all these cool cameos. But in reality, it really is like a very mature type of show. Story wise, it's trying to show this depth. Every Disney Plus show is a lot about like characterization. The only thing is the Mandalorian really is about that plus exploring other canon, right? This that it did service like fan wise. Um, I think any appearance for Boba Fett, it'll do like service,
This whole
especially like a
show is fan
redesign
service, pretty
as
much.
yeah. But I mean, I think out of 1 to 10 so far, thinking about it from the other episodes we reviewed up to this point, I'm gonna give it a solid like 8 or 9, just because I understand what they're doing. It's really all about him becoming a different man, and I think I could really respect that. And Boba Fett craves respect, right? So That's my thoughts. What about you?
That's pretty accurate. Yeah, I would say it's definitely not a 9, but it's definitely not a 7, so I would say it's good, but it's not great. It's not Mandalorian, but it's still because it's more about Boba, but I feel like they're just like I don't know, there's just something missing because I kind of wanted him to do more in the show, but I feel like you know he's not even up there yet because he's kind of there, but like it depends on how next episode turns out. Because if he's still like needing to do all this shit before the final episode, um, then you kind of just lost me. But if, next episode he does something crazy, he's apparently like running a thing because he still hasn't even like really like claimed Tatooine yet. So how you gonna run like a intergalactic like crime network, right? If you haven't even uh claimed Tatooine yet, but I don't know. It's interesting though, but yeah, this episode definitely was like a 10 out of 10 for me. And it was directed by Bryce Dallas Howard too. She
Oh
directed
yeah,
Sanctuary and The Heiress
yeah,
in season
that's
2
cool.
too. Kudos to you, Bryce. We're watching you. But yeah, any final thoughts?
That is it for me for sure. More revelations, and we definitely can't wait for you guys to see our next review. And new stuff coming out too, Peacemaker as well. We're gonna record around like Thursday, Friday, release it around like the weekend. So keep up. We'll keep you updated on Instagram as well. Yeah,
Definitely. Yeah, thank you guys for listening to our review of Boba Episode 5. Be sure to follow us because when Mando Season 3 drops, we're going to be all over that. And if you guys are interested, which I doubt, but you can watch we had a couple videos a long time ago before we did our podcast on Instagram Live. So you get the quality that you pay for, unfortunately. But yeah, we did a couple Mando Season 2 episodes way back when, and they're really good. Like the stuff we were talking about, like I miss like talking about. I wish we had the podcast around that time because they were great episodes, and we had a lot to talk about. So if you want to get into Mandalorian, they're great conversations. I can it's on my Instagram page if you guys want to follow it. But yeah, like Akram said, next episode is Peacemaker episode 5 review coming probably around Friday at the time of this release, so check that out. We got a lot of coverage for Peacemaker as well, and if you haven't checked our last episode, we went over news happening in entertainment, and we covered Moon Knight trailer, the Batman, and a plethora of other trending topics, so check it out. But thanks again, guys. We'll catch you next time, but until then, thanks for having lunch with us.
this is the way.
This is the way.